Hello, I'm Hilary Winchester. I'm the Provost at Central Queensland University based in Rockhampton. I don't remember exactly when I first met Paul, but it must have been in 1974 because that's when I started my research. And Paul was one of the postgrads in the downstairs research room in the School of Geography in Mansfield Road. I remember it all quite well. There were lots of people who went on to really stellar academic careers. There was Philip Ogden, Tony Champion, various people who stayed in Britain, and then there were those who went to the Antipodes. There was me, there was Eric Pawson, there was Guy Robinson. So it was a great time, and from then we started to work together. I also remember about that time going to Paul and Liz's wedding at Hertford College. And I've been to a few Oxford weddings, and that must be the most long-lasting. So congratulations, Paul and Liz, and your wonderful, beautiful, talented daughters, Catherine and Helen. My main academic links with Paul were really because we had a shared interest in migration and in Europe. And the things I remember most were the field trips to Paris. Somehow I became an honorary member of the geography department at the University of Sheffield because I think then nobody worried about risk assessments or contracts or things of that sort. And they were great field trips. I've actually still got some of the booklets somewhere, Paul, and I'll send them to you if you like. I clearly remember one day we were in some very, very run-down area of northern Paris, and these two young lads told us in quite colourful language that the Eiffel Tower was that way and we must be in the wrong part of the city. There was also an occasion where we arrived at a hotel which had just been newly refurbished, and there was no hot water and there was no this and no that, and that got the language flowing for both of us. Paul, you always had this exceptional ability for languages, and you certainly made use of it then, and as I know you have done through your wonderful academic career. I have a bit of a confused memory of a couple of other things. I think it was Paul who got fined for jumping the metro barrier. You did have a valid ticket, I know, but nonetheless, you're not to jump over the barrier. So that was quite amusing. The students enjoyed that a lot. And then the other thing was that we wrote some papers together, particularly the ones on marginal spaces and marginal groups in Paris. And we were terribly, terribly technically advanced. Do you remember we used to send those floppy disks to each other? We used to send them in the mail and add the next bit. So at least that was one step ahead of those great boxes of computer cards, which is what we used to use as postgrads. The other thing was, of course, we went to some of the same conferences. I do remember one in the Netherlands. There was a lot of gin and not very much tonic. And I certainly was the worse for wear. And I remember you, Paul, saying to me at about lunchtime, "Eat, eat, you will feel better." And eventually I did. So thank you for looking after me. And thank you, too, for helping build careers. And it certainly set me on my way to the work that I did in Australia. We haven't done so much since 1987. That's how long it is since I moved to Australia. But we have kept in contact. You're a much better letter writer and card sender than I am. But I'd just like to say thank you very much for a wonderful academic and personal relationship over 40 years. Thanks, Paul.